So welcome back. I am excited about having my next guest on because he's been on with me before. I have with me Gabriel Moran. He is the chairman, CEO, and founder of Hygia Care. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Carol. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone, and thanks for inviting me again to your show.
Oh, you got to tell everybody a little bit about what it is that you do. Listen up, everyone, because this is could be for you. You never know. Go ahead.
Okay. So those of you who have performed colonoscopy in the past, and we're talking about colonoscopy, will agree that the most memorable and challenging part was the prep. And that's something that you don't easily forget. The nausea, the sleepless nights, sometimes even the retching, but always having to constantly run to the bathroom. And that is really, truly problematic because colon cancer is the only cancer that can actually be prevented. And performing screening colonoscopy to find if there is a precancerous polyp and to take it out, it's so important for your health. And we know that screening colonoscopy saves lives. And I'm here to share with you the good news. You really no longer need to go through the uncomfortable prep. Hygia Care offers a better option to prep for colonoscopy.
Well, thank you. I mean, really, because a lot of people they won't even do it. They do not want to do it because they just don't want to deal with the prep. And that's not the smartest thing to do. Go ahead.
Right. So we've set up a Hygia Care Center here in Gilbert, and there we provide the unique Hygia Care prep, and you can have a great overall experience and prep successfully for your colonoscopy and get peace of mind with a good outcome. More than 2,000 patients already have benefited from our prep. We have 4 locations here in Gilbert, as I said, in Dallas, Texas, in Austin, Texas, and in Norfolk, Virginia. And 95% of these patients have told us that they were so satisfied with the Hygia Care prep, which provided a totally different experience, that they will again take advantage of the $245 price and never go back to the old prep. They will willingly again perform our prep when they next need to perform a colonoscopy. You know, I don't know if you know that a recent publication showed that 25% of patients that were instructed to perform the standard prep arrived to the colonoscopy with inadequate prep. Only 75% were adequately clean, which means that only those patients could actually receive a definitive diagnosis. I can tell you that in comparison, in over 2,000 patients that we've performed, we have 97% adequately clean, and this is far higher than the standard prep.
Now, you can check them out at hygiacare.com. That's HYGIEA care.com. You can also call them. Their phone number is 480-750-2333. I want to get it kind of clear on a couple of different things, okay? First of all, I want to ask you, do you do consultations with people that call you?
Yeah, the people can call in. We have a center nurse manager here in Gilbert called Lisa Harris. She's a wonderful person, very experienced and highly capable. And I encourage your listeners to check out our website and speak to her directly for a free consult at the phone number that you described. That's 480-750-2333. And she will explain everything that needs to be explained about the Hygia Care prep. And I can tell you that we recently had a lady that came into us after performing the oral prep 3 times. Can you imagine drinking all that stuff, then having the cramps and running to the toilet nonstop 3 times? And each time she failed, she wasn't able to perform colonoscopy because she wasn't cleaned out. And then finally she came to us and had a successful colonoscopy. So, you know, this is where we see so much value in doing it right and doing it in a comfortable way. We had another lady who couldn't tolerate the oral prep and came to us, and 8 polyps were found in her colon. And, you know, this might have saved her life. So It's really important to just ask for a prescription from your doctor for the Hygia Care prep when you schedule for colonoscopy. And you can be assured that you'll have a good outcome.
So you would ask your doctor for a script for that. They would do that for you. And you can call them. They do a free consultation. Their phone number, it's 480-750-2333. And that website is Hygia, HYGIEA care.com. Okay, I want to find out another thing. So when they come to you, they're coming to you for the prep only. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So when they leave there, they're completely cleaned out, so by the time they get home, nothing's going to happen. I just got to find that out.
Well, they go directly from us to the colonoscopy.
Okay.
That's the way it's scheduled.
All right, I'm glad I asked. Go ahead.
Right. So the first step is to schedule the colonoscopy. That's the first step that everyone who needs a colonoscopy should do, and then ask the physician for a prescription for the Hygia Care prep. Now, with the prescription in hand, call Lisa, our nurse manager, and schedule the prep at the Hygia Care Center. It's in Harbor Shores Medical Center building, and in Gilbert. And she will provide you with all the personalized instructions, everything you need to know to be sure that you have a clean colon, because that is the end result that is so critical. On the day of the colonoscopy, you arrive at the Hygia Care Center at the scheduled time, which will give you enough time to do the prep and then get to the endoscopy center to do the colonoscopy immediately afterwards. When patients come to us, they don't need to bring with them a designated driver. Only when they go to the colonoscopy they need that. Now, just to walk you through the process very quickly, so the trained prep technician in our center will take the patient to a private, quiet room, seat them on the sanitized basin. Before the patient arrives, the prep tech will have prepared the room for the patient, fully disinfected the whole system, including the internal tubing, everything, so that the experience is sanitary, it's safe. We use a single-use sterile disposable nozzle, which is the only thing that actually comes into internal contact with the patient, and that's inserted just 1 inch into the rectum. And a gentle stream of gravity-fed warm water flows into the bowel. And we do use filtered water with absolutely no additives, so you have a natural and effective cleansing using the most important product that you can use, which is water, to clean the bowel. And that flow of water allows you to comfortably and discreetly evacuate your colon. I would like to mention something really interesting, is that the room itself is, of course, very comfortable, very private, and it is odorless, and I would say because of the brilliant design of Rocco Bruno, who's our partner from Austin, Texas, who designed this beautiful system, but he also designed into the system an evacuation fan in the basin, and that extracts from the room the natural odors at source, so people can come in and out of the room and feel comfortable doing so.
Wow, that's awesome. It's an awesome thing. Let me ask you another question before we go to a break. So how long does that actually take? Because, you know, when we do these oral preps at home, you're talking an all-night thing, right? Practically.
Right.
So it sounds pretty fast with you. Go ahead.
Well, on the system itself, it takes approximately 45 minutes till the prep tech sees that there's consistently clean water coming out of the colon, and at that point of time, the prep is complete. So patients that have chosen this have universally said the experience was far better for them than the oral prep, and that they would again choose Hygia Care prep. And many of them say they'll never go back to doing the oral prep. It's such a different experience. There's really no comparison.
Well, what we're going to do, we're going to go to a break soon, and when we come back, I want to talk a little bit further about it. And if it's okay with you, I'm even going to open up the lines if anyone wants to call in. You have a question about this, you can. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. They're located here in Gilbert, and their phone number, they do free consultations. It's 480-750-2333. The website is Hygia, Hygia, care.com. And one of the other things that I wanted to ask you before that, you know, in terms of it, you must make it clear that they do need to get a prescription from their doctor, you know, recommendation from their doctor, correct?
Yeah, a prescription. It's actually a prescription product, and that is what we fulfill. We fulfill a prescription.
So here's another thing about this. When you're hearing this on Networking Arizona, it's one of those things that when you hear a drug and you hear about it, you want to tell your doctors about this so that they also know. We're going to come back. We're going to talk further about what they can do. Check them out. It is Hygia, Hygia care.com. They do free consultations, and the phone number to call, it's 480-750-2333. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute.
If I traded it all, if I gave it all.
So welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Gabriel Moran, and he is the chairman and CEO and founder of Hygia Care. And we have this is something that is, if you're listening to this, this is something that you can tell your doctor about. You need to get a prescription for it, and then you can and do something that you should probably do that you've been putting off for a long time. Talk a little bit about it again, real quickly, so for the people that might have not heard from the break. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're talking about prepping for colonoscopy. As we know, the colonoscopy is so critical for actually preventing cancer of the colon, and so many people don't want to do it because of the prep and have great difficulty with the prep. And Hygia Care actually provides a solution that replaces the oral prep and is a much preferred solution. Just perhaps to explain, those of you who have done the oral prep, it does require drinking 2 sets of pretty icky stuff, and then drinking a glass of water every 15 minutes for a few hours, and then running and excreting constantly and urgently.
The worst.
And drinking a lot of water is very difficult for many people. And running to the toilet is very difficult for many, and you need to be near to the toilet, and accidents can happen. It can be pretty messy. And, of course, cleaning yourself afterwards so many times results in chappiness and pain. And with Hygia Care, we don't have any of that. We have a much simpler and more easier and pleasant solution. We have great results. 97% have adequately clean colons. That's compared to 75% in the oral prep. So it's significantly, the data that we have now is so much better than what has been published about oral prep. And we have great outcomes. And this is so important for our patients and for everyone out there.
They're located in, did you say Gilbert? And they do free consultations. Their phone number is 480-750-2333. That website, you got to check it out. It is Hygia, Hygia care.com. Now, I want to talk a little bit to the listeners also about something that you also had founded, which is the lead given imaging that you do. The lead given imaging. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Right. I did found Given Imaging, a company that was created to provide a solution to what was then a huge problem in gastroenterology, and that the small bowel, which is 17 feet of bowel between the stomach and the colon, was a black box. So anyone wanted to look at that, essentially the way to look at a small bowel had been to cut the patient open in the abdomen, pull out the small bowel, and inspect it from the outside. That was called intraoperative enteroscopy, and that was really an awful diagnostic prospect. And the way to resolve this was to develop a pill-sized swallowable camera that could take images and transmit video out of the small bowel. Now, as CEO, my team succeeded in creating a global standard of care that has provided a simple and effective diagnostic solution for small bowel evaluation. And there is huge satisfaction that we've touched millions of patients and changed so many lives and saved so many lives all over the world. And following the Given success, Carol, I wanted to do something to reduce the threat of colon cancer, as it is one of the sole cancers that can be prevented. And the screening is so important to establish the existence or absence of cancer, but no less important, it's finding a precancerous polyp and extracting it to actually prevent the development of colorectal cancer. And in order to do that, it's critical that you have a clean bowel prior to the exam. And we're all aware that the worst part, of course, is the prep. And many patients just don't perform colonoscopies. I don't know if you know, but in the U.S., according to publicly released guidelines, 24 million people should be performing a screening colonoscopy each year. Do you know how many are actually performing screening colonoscopies? Only 14.5 million.
Wow.
So about 10 million people who should be doing screening colonoscopy are not being screened. That's awful. And we know that half of these patients, about 5 million people, don't perform colonoscopy just because they fear or they dislike the oral prep.
How do you know if you were cleaned out properly? You know, for some of the people that you had said in one of the stories that they weren't cleaned out properly, how does one know if they weren't? And, you know, it sounds to me like everyone should want to make sure that they were.
Well, not everyone can know if they are clean or not. And when we have patients coming to us, we actually have a viewing tube and we see everything that's coming out, and we monitor that, and we actually see when the water that's coming out is clean and when the colon is clean, and that's why we have 97% adequacy.
How many people can you do at one time? Like if you're you must have it scheduled out, and I don't know whether or not.
It's a good, in our center in Gilbert at the moment, we can do 6 patients every hour.
Okay.
And if there will be more demand, we'll open up additional rooms.
Is it in a private? Is it a private room that you're in, or how does that work?
Absolutely. The room itself is private. It's there isn't any. It's acoustically closed. It's like a cocoon. You don't hear anything outside. You don't hear anything from the outside. We put music on. You choose the music that you like. We dim the lights. It's very comfortable and it's very discreet. And our tech really walks the patient through the whole procedure.
Is it safe?
And it's very safe. We've had 0 adverse events with the 2,000 patients that we've done.
Sure.
We don't expect to see any.
Right. And again, can you tell me again how long it takes by the time, because they want to make sure they understand this is something where you're going to go there and you're going to do this procedure before you go in for your colonoscopy. Once they do it, usually how long do they schedule it in between? How does that work? Within the hour or whatever?
Yeah, well, we check with the colonoscopy group, the endoscopy group, what time the patient has to be at the center, at the endoscopy center. And then we work back to see how much travel time. And we have them come in about an hour and a half before that, so we can easily meet the schedule, clean them, and then send them to the endoscopy center directly. And it's no problem driving afterwards and getting wherever you need to get and do the colonoscopy.
And again, that phone number, it's 480-750-2333. They do free consultations. The website is Hygia, Hygiea, care.com. And one of the things that I also wanted to find out, too, from any of the other stories that you might want to tell us for somebody that might not have heard from the last segment that you were on.
Yeah, so actually it's interesting to note, Carol, that we have had some patients that were referred by their physicians because of chronic constipation. And these patients have had extraordinarily good experiences with bowel movements and, I would say, a feeling of emptiness like never before. So we have done patients like that as well, which is a different type of utilization of the system, but very, very effective. Well, we've had patients that have never been able to complete the prep before successfully and have been delaying their repeat colonoscopy for years because of the prep. And because of Hygia Care prep, it did allow them to complete the prep in an easier way and have their colonoscopy. So we already have the satisfaction that we are saving lives and improving care, which is so key to everything that we do. For
anyone that just heard what you said about for anyone that had been constipated for a long time, and do you work with children as well, or on that, or just adults?
No, only adults.
Okay, wanted to ask.
We're not doing children yet.
Right, okay, and that's okay, but there's a lot of people who suffer from something like that. You got to check it out on the website. It's Hygiea care.com. Go ahead.
Yeah, and just to mention, we had a patient that was accompanied by her daughter, and it was an elderly patient, and she saw how happy her mother had been with it. After that, she scheduled colonoscopy for herself and her husband in tandem, and both had been past due for screening and had delayed it also because of the prep. So now, really, it is the time to take responsibility and schedule your screening colonoscopy with the Hygia Care prep. This is something that really is not something that should be delayed, and you should call your gastroenterologist right now and check us out and ask them to provide a prescription for the Hygia Care prep.
You got to check him out. Anyone who's ever done it, and I have before, it's an awful feeling. You know that you don't even want to do it. You can't wait for it to get done. And why should you have to deal with it when all you have to do is talk to your doctor, have them give you a prescription for this. They'll call and get connected. You can call them and get a free consultation from them. You'll tell exactly how it works. The phone number is 480-750-2333. Hygia, Hygia care.com. It is safe, it is effective, and it is something that you should do. And like he said, take responsibility and make sure that you take care of yourself. Again, that number is 480-750-2333. It's Hygia, Hygia, care.com.